Masai Ujiri and Pascal Siakam are throwing shots at each other today during media day, as today's the first day back for the Toronto Raptors players, coaches, GMs, everyone, and they're all giving press conferences, and Masai Ujiri has had a little back and forth with Pascal Siakam in this one, and it's getting nuts, because today's media day was well anticipated by Toronto Raptors fans, given the season we had last year that was not only boring, underwhelming, but we had talent on the team. We have talented pieces that could potentially get us value on the open market, that could potentially be flipped into a team that's competent or at least has a bright future. But coming into the summers, despite Masai Ujiri overtly saying, hey, don't put down your phones, things are going to happen. And while we did have a bunch of rumors and a bunch of the guys on the roster that were ingrained in sort of the fabric of this team were thrown out, dangled into a bunch of trade talks, nothing happened. So there was going to be a hint of awkwardness. There were going to have questions that had to be answered today during media day, and we got that and more. We'll be discussing a bunch of what's been said, the direction of this team in future vids, but the main topic, the main thing we're diving into today is the back and forth between Masai Ujiri and Pascal Siakam, because it's kind of crazy what's going on right now at this point. So let's just look exactly what Masai Ujiri had to say and dive down into it completely.
Believe in Pascal. We do believe that a lot of our players didn't play the right way last year, and we want to see them play the right way. I said it that we were selfish. I'm not running away from that. We were selfish and we did not play the right way. So let us see it when we play the right way.
So, John, Joe.
So this is exactly what Masai Ujiri had to say following his question about Pascal Siakam's role, all that type of stuff. You heard it right there. And just to dive deeper into, the words from Masai Ujiri, basically, a lot of players didn't play the right way. I said it, we were selfish. I'm not running away from that. We were selfish. We didn't play the right way. So let's see how it is when we play the right way. So talking about extension talks for Pascal Siakam, and I've talked about this consistently over the course of the summer. I've had some tirades, and fair enough. Some people agree, some people disagree in the comment sections, but I've said the Raptors front office should not be scapegoating their number one option. They should be giving him a contract extension, given the value that Pascal Siakam has provided for the Toronto Raptors. I mean, his stats last season are all NBA caliber: 24 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 48% from the field. Pascal Siakam has been really good, and he's been able to play whatever role's been asked for him on the Toronto Raptors. Under Nick Nurse's system, he was asked to be a focal point in the offense, to have the offense sort of run through him, and he took those shots and those isolation plays, even though that naturally wasn't his game. And, whether it worked, whether it didn't, you can't just be blaming Pascal Siakam if he played a little bit more ISO-heavy actions last season. But he's not a guy that's necessarily been, a ball hog or something along those lines. In fact, he's improved his facilitating a bunch last season, but I digress on all those points. I've been screaming this the entire offseason. I mean, he even played with second fiddle, third fiddle to Kawhi and these guys and won an NBA championship, but basically, Masai Ujiri is calling out and saying, we were selfish last year, and specifically in the context of the question alluding to Pascal Siakam's extension. Essentially, the underlying message in that quote, in that comment, is if Pascal Siakam can play less selfishly, under Darko Rajakovic's system in this new year, this new season, we're not giving him that max extension. We're not initiating those talks. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out. And he was even asked about OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr.'s extension, and he said now is the time to have those talks. He was very much more energetic when talking about especially OG Anunoby's talks, saying he was in no way, shape, or form involved in trade discussions this offseason, heck, even for Damian Lillard. And this is what all the external reporting also agreed with, that OG is seen as an untouchable by Masai Ujiri, and Pascal Siakam isn't, right? That's just kind of how it is. And Pascal Siakam's Masai Ujiri's evaluating Pascal Siakam's, quote, selfishness heading into this year. So that's fairly interesting. But when Masai Ujiri makes comments like this, when he has discussions like this, when he's basically not completely throwing Pascal under the bus, he's had talks, it's not like he was just bashing him in the media day, but, some subtle shade thrown out there. Pascal Siakam obviously had to respond. And Pascal basically came out and said that I've never been a selfish player in my life, right? Ever since I started playing basketball, I don't have an ounce of selfishness in me. Siakam on Raptors Culture Reset and the notion of selfishness. And if you watch the Pascal Siakam interview, I couldn't grab a clip of that quote specifically, but his body language, he just does not seem excited. And to pull up some more quotes, some discussions he had, talked about Fred VanVleet, how he's sad. He's happy for his buddy Fred VanVleet to get that massive contract, but he's disappointed he's not back with the team. And talking about what he'd do with the contract extension stuff in the future, said he just wants to be a place where he can win games and have fun. And given the look on Pascal Siakam right now, it does not seem like he's having fun.
Yeah, I think I let those type of questions to the people that represent me. And that's kind of like why I pay them. So I don't have to answer that. So yeah.
So if Pascal Siakam's feeling like that, if that's the look of Pascal Siakam right there, he's shooting shots back at Masai Ujiri, things are just not looking good. And it's, there's two ways this can go. And the one predominant way I see a lot of people I've been texting with, my friends that are also Raptors fans, peeping Twitter, peeping Reddit, all that type of stuff. A lot of people are saying Masai Ujiri's horribly managing the situation. You've already dangled Pascal Siakam in a bunch of trade rumors this entire offseason. And regardless of what you think about Scottie Barnes' development, and I think he's going to be amazing. I'm not one of those guys that's guaranteed Scottie Barnes is going to be the next Michael Jordan. However, I do think Scottie Barnes is the future of this team, all that type of stuff. Regardless of what you think about Scottie, if Pascal Siakam's holding him back, all that type of stuff, you are alienating your best player by making these comments, by dangling him in trade talks that frankly just aren't that great of returns. Personally, if I was Pascal Siakam, I'd be insulted by the DeAndre Hunter potential package, and the Raptors contemplating a deal where Kobe Buffkin isn't even involved, right? That's just a bad look, right, from the front office and all that type of stuff. Yes, you have to make trade negotiations, and no one's blaming Masai Ujiri for taking calls, and if the stuff leaks, it is what it is. But you can't come out after all that stuff happens off season and talk about, hey, moves had to be, we discussed things, we talked about things, and then basically alluding to OG being untouchable, but your star player, your number one option, a guy that is better than OG Anunoby right now at this point, right? Sure, he's more expensive, but OG is going to be expensive coming up this season as well, right? Making those types of comments is alienating. It's an extremely risky move, especially if you want to bring Pascal Siakam back on a contract extension, because this franchise, it would be a devastating loss for Pascal Siakam to leave for nothing, right? Like, a valuable piece like that, it is asset mismanagement to let him walk in free agency for nothing. And then if you are actively making Pascal Siakam become more disgruntled, you're hurting his potential trade value if you don't want him on the team for the future. So that's one route. That's one avenue I've seen people take it. But there is another one where this all works out, because we've heard it from Toronto Raptors players before a bunch. Nick Nurse, Siakam said himself, but winning fixes everything. And Siakam said he wants to be on a team where he's winning and he's having fun. So maybe this is a way, and Masai Ujiri basically alluded to this when Nick Nurse was fired, that he wants to hold players more accountable, and felt Nick Nurse didn't live up to that job title, that job description, as a head coach of a team. Masai Ujiri had to do a lot of the disciplinary actions for players, Fred VanVleet especially getting free reign, free leash, and I guess alluding to Pascal Siakam running more of ISO-heavy offense, Scottie Barnes being like a fifth option on the team last year. Masai Ujiri's putting his foot down right from the jump, saying, no more ISO ball, no more selfish play. I don't care if I'm hurting feelings right now. The Toronto Raptors are not winning at this point, so figure it out. If you want your contract extension, you got to figure it out. You got to prove it to me that you are worth it, and if it doesn't offend, because we know that star players, Siakam doesn't seem like that much of a prima donna or something along those lines, even like a Kawhi Leonard-esque, superstar guy that's going to be doing those types of things, but players have egos, more so than they did back in the day, because they have more power in terms of contracts, in terms of being able to request trades and all that type of stuff. It's a risky play to sort of push players and be that direct and be that overt, but if it works out, Pascal Siakam starts playing the right way in terms of winning games, because, Darko's trying to revamp the system, switch things up. We broke this down in recent vids, but if this does push Siakam to get that, things start winning, things start rolling, then maybe that extension happens and things end up working out for the Toronto Raptors. But you also risk, if Siakam's having an amazing season, right, putting up better numbers than he did last year. I'll pull up his stats once again. He's going to be an all-NBA player. He's not going to want to sign a contract extension because you're going to have to supermax him. So you have your own conundrum there if this sort of deal ends up going through. So that's why I've been the proponent. Hey, call him out all you want, but give him his money. Give him the contract extension. Have control over him in the future years. But I don't know. Masai Ujiri obviously has done tremendous things as the helm of the Toronto Raptors organization. Some fans have especially been losing faith in him over the past couple seasons, but I'm hoping his plan, I'm hoping his craft ends up working out. His 4D Jesse's playing. I'm not in a Masai Ujiri sort of cult at this point, not the believe in everything Masai does, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt until we're proven otherwise, until things just end up getting messy this year. But folks, let me know what you guys think about Pascal Siakam, Masai Ujiri having this back and forth in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.